Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm River. And you're listening to
The Book Fairies.
So today we are joined with the lovely Jenna Moreci.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Jenna is the author of one of my favorite series right now, The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister. And you're working on a third and fourth, right?
Yes, I'm currently writing The Savior's Army, and then after that I'll be starting on TSW, which will be the fourth book.
Oh, wow. Do you already have like bits prepared for that, or are you just
For TSW, I have a whole thought dump. It's like 30 pages long. It's got dialogue. It's got, okay, this kind of action has to happen. Action of the violent kind, action of the sexy kind. You know, I got tons of stuff ready. I already know about the ships that are going to set sail in that book.
Yay!
It's very exciting.
Actual ships?
No.
Or like people ships?
People ships. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
There might be some actual ships too. I don't know.
Oh, I'm so in a pirate's face.
I know. She's like, wait, there's ships in this?
Yeah,
well, there
on.
are going to be pirates in TSA, the Savior's Army, what I'm working on right now. It's actually coming up in a couple of chapters. Well, they're like people on boats who do illegal things. That's close enough to pirates, right?
Pirates, yeah.
So there's some of that and some.
That's awesome. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Me too.
Pirates are amazing. Short story about pirates as well. So.
I love that. I have a folder full of thought dumps for future book ideas, and one of them is a pirate story. And I'm like, I really want to write this, except I don't know anything about boats.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. You should talk to my critique partner. She's actually writing a pirate story, and the way that she describes being on a boat and taking care and manning the boat, I'm like, wow, she did a lot of research. Like, this is crazy.
She's like, plot twist.
In a previous life.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Plot twist. She was a pirate in a previous life. She just knows it. It's all natural.
So, Jenna, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Jenna Moreci. I am a dark fantasy romance writer. Like you mentioned, I'm currently working on the Savior series. The first two books are already out, The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister. They are #1 bestsellers over on Amazon, and The Savior's Champion won an award via Book Depository. It was voted one of the best books of all time.
So cool.
I know, like I always tell people, I'm just gonna have that on my tombstone. It's like like the highlight of my life. Like, oh my gosh, my book was listed on this list alongside Jane Austen and Stephen King. I can die happy.
It doesn't surprise me though. Like, I fell in love with your book. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
It surprised me. I had no idea they were even doing this. I wasn't paying attention, and my friend, who is another fantasy author, Sasha Black, hit me up. She's like, Jenna, did you know?
I love Sasha.
Me too, yeah. And I had no idea. I didn't even know it was in the running or anything. But outside of that, I also have a YouTube channel called Writing with Jenna Moreci. You can find it at youtube.com/Jenna Moreci. And I give writing advice to fellow writers out there with a hefty dose of sarcasm and dick jokes and all kinds of salacious shenanigans. And I also just talk about writerly things like tropes I like, tropes I don't like, and publishing and marketing and all that good stuff.
I think like that's exactly how I found you though, is because I was trying to learn how to write. I just started the journey, and like your videos popped up right away, and I just loved like your personality and your sarcasm specifically, and all of your dick jokes, and also the dick jokes in your books.
Thank you.
So many dick jokes.
It's a gift that keeps on giving, you know? Like, dicks are funny. Like, if you've seen one, they're funny. They look like little aliens shooting out of a body, and they're just easy to make fun of. They're just really easy to clown on, so I just try to make it an art form.
It is, though. You've mastered it.
Thank you. Some people have the Sistine Chapel. I have dick jokes. You know?
That's amazing. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your writing journey?
Sure. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so it's a long one, and I'll try my best to summarize. So I've wanted to be a writer my whole life, since I was 6 years old. When I was in the first grade, once a week, we would devote a day to quote-unquote writing books, which was just, you know, stories scrawled onto construction paper, and we would bind the construction paper. The first quote unquote book I wrote was called The Funeral, and it was about a cat funeral. And yeah, I know. And it elicited a serious conversation between my teacher and my mom. So basically, this just foreshadows that I've always been weird and messed up. It's in my DNA, clearly.
I kind of love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Same, though.
It's funny because when I tell the story, some people are like, this is awesome. And other people are like, should we call the police?
I'm on the first end of it.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm like, yay, dead stuff.
But if you're a writer, doesn't everything go?
Exactly. That's how I feel. But basically, from that point forward, I was hooked. I wanted to be a writer. I was studying storytelling. I would watch movies and, analyze the story structure. And, being on the autism spectrum, it became my special interest. But obviously, I experienced what a lot of people experience, which is everyone around you telling you can't make writing a career. It's just never going to happen for you. Writers don't make any money, blah, blah, blah. So by the time I was in college, I was trying to pursue a normal job. So I went to college for business, and I'm one of the few like artsy fartsy people who's really good at English and math, which usually don't go together. So I did okay in business. I graduated and I got a job as a stockbroker. And there was just a point in my career as a stockbroker where I got home from work and I was like, I fucking hate my job so much. And this is it. This is going to be the rest of my life, is going to this job that I fucking hate at 40 hours a week. And it's never going to get any better. And I was like, the only thing I've ever wanted to do is write. So I'm going to try to write. So I started writing a book on the side. I got a lot of heat for it. A lot of people, pretty much no one supported me except for my then boyfriend, now fiance, Cliff. And during that time I was writing the book. I started a blog. I was trying to, gain an audience and everything. And then, I swear this is the summarized version. Then, unfortunately, my fiance had a horrible accident and broke his spine. So I put everything on hold so I could take care of him and be his caregiver. I quit my job, and my life just revolved around, helping him relearn to walk. And then once he got to a point where he was well enough that he didn't need 24/7 care, I started getting back into writing again. And when you go through something like that, it kind of changes your perspective on life. Like, I've got a really limited amount of time on this planet. I have no idea when I'm going to go. So I'm just going to put all my eggs in this basket and give it the best shot I've got. I started my YouTube channel, just figured I'll risk it. And my goal was 100 subscribers. I was like, if I get 100 subscribers, I've made it. And I think now I'm just shy of 270,000.
You have so many subscribers. Like, that risk totally paid off.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was like, this is not going to go anywhere, but I'm just going to try it because who knows, I could die tomorrow. So I gave it a shot, and the YouTube channel took off. And because the YouTube channel took off, by the time I released my first book, I was able to write full time because I had reached
amazing.
This huge audience. So that's my writing journey. And now here I am with
and you're like
zillion subscribers.
I know, it's crazy. Like, I love your videos so much, and it makes sense that you have so many subscribers just because you're just fun to listen to. You're like a fun person to listen to, and I feel like a lot of people identify or they understand like your perspective. And you also deliver things like so sarcastically. Like, how can you not just appreciate that as well?
Well, that was one of the reasons I started the channel. Originally, it wasn't my idea. When I had my blog, I was critiquing other people's writing, and people said, you're really funny and you've got a very straightforward way of presenting things. You should have a YouTube channel. And I was like, hey, how about fuck no? Because I'm an introvert. I don't want to be on camera. I'm not going to do it. So then after Cliff broke his spine and my perspective on life changed, I was like, I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to give it a shot. And I really growing up being kind of weird and on the spectrum and stuff, I always considered myself like someone that is a little unlikable. So I was like, no one's going to watch my channel. Like, no one's going to really be interested in what I have to say, but I'm just going to give it a shot because people told me I'd be good at it. And so honestly, the fact that I've got this big supportive following, it was very shocking to me because I was like, I don't know. People think I'm an asshole, I'm like, I just didn't see it coming. But it also stemmed from the fact that when I would look for writing advice, everything was so flowery and so just felt like the writer was just jerking themselves off. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
get to the point. Just
I
give me
know,
the straightforward info.
I actually, that's another thing I really liked about your videos, is because when you go on YouTube and you're looking for like, well, how do you do this? It's a lot of long-winded, where's the point? Like,
Right.
And I love that you have like, we know exactly where you're going with it. The editing in your videos is amazing as well. The whole thing. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. For me, it's like, I would look for writing information and it would either be like essays or it would be like half-hour long videos. I'm like, I don't got time for this shit. Just get to the point. So that's where I'm at.
Let alone attention. Attention is such a big thing too, because my attention span is way too short to be able to watch such a long video and then they never get to the point, and I'm just like, wow, that's half an hour wasted. Thank you so much.
Exactly. And I've been studying storytelling since I was a kid. And so, you know, a lot of the stuff that I see videos about, I already know about. And then I see them explaining it in such a prolific way. And I'm just kind of like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. It's just A, B, C. Like, why are you talking about it like this? And it just makes me think they just want to hear themselves talk. And I mean, it might not be that. It might just be how they talk. But I don't know. I wanted to be straightforward.
Maybe it's not as straightforward to other people.
Maybe
it's our neurodivergent brain.
Yeah.
Like we're like, this is what matters. The rest of the stuff is just junk.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like that's how you write as well. Like something I really appreciated when I started reading The Savior's Champion, because I had found you on YouTube and then I found out that you wrote a book and I was like, I need this because I need to know how Jenna writes. And so I was pleasantly surprised when I ended up just like really, really enjoying it. I had been in like a reading slump for like 3 years. And then I picked up your book and I was like, I can't put it down.
Thank you. That's
it's
so
just
sweet.
And the other thing is like, it's a large, well, to me it's like a
big book.
I was about to, no, it's
tome.
It's, you know, they're bricks.
Yeah.
But I
Big
like
boys.
that. But sometimes it's hard for me to get through those. Like if I'm not really like ingrained in the story. But just even from like the get-go, like
it starts with chaos.
It starts with chaos and then it ends with chaos, and the whole thing is just amazing. And there's no like boring moments in your book.
I love how you just jumped into the panic and all the things. It's so hard to get into a book when it's just describing.
A lot of books open with setting the scene and it's just like woods. It's like, we get it. We know what trees look like. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I always think about Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings series. Like, I really like The Hobbit, but then when I tried to read the Lord of the Rings series, like there's a war going on and he's describing the way the blades of the grass look with the sun. And I'm like, there's literally people dying right now and you're focused on the fucking grass. Like, can we not?
Yeah, it's funny because one of the first comments I saw about The Savior's Champion was on one of my videos. And she was like, I can't believe you opened with a woman getting her throat slit and then a post-mortem C-section. And that was too much. And I'm like thinking, there are bloody handprints on the cover.
Yeah, what did you expect?
What were you expecting? Also, there's trigger warnings, but still,
Yeah.
that's what I would rather personally. Like, I want you to get to the point, get to the good stuff, and
I thought that was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I thought the beginning was like, I feel like it's like bam right away, and you also it kind of ties into later on with the Savior herself, like and her story and her backstory, and I don't know, I just really loved it.
Thank you.
It wasn't just for nothing; it actually had a point to it, you know. And that's another thing. Some people just like kill characters or have like these graphic scenes for like nothing, and I feel like every death that you had for the most part like had I mean, there was definitely some death just for death, but most of them, like the impactful ones, had reason behind them, and like that's important to me as a reader.
Yeah, I'm a big, just in general, a lot of writers, they're like, I'm not a regular writer, I'm an edgy writer.
Cool, right?
And they just kill people left and right and they explode heads and all this stuff. And I mean, obviously, I am totally fine with killing characters. I think something like 20 characters died in The Savior's Champion. Like, I'm fine with it, but it can't just be for shock value.
Yeah.
Like there's gotta be a point, you know?
Yeah.
And even if it's just the point is to show this guy's a bad guy because he killed someone, or the point is to be like, this character needs to be scared in this moment. There's just gotta be something. It can't just be like, oh, blood and guts. Ooh.
No, exactly. Like, and that's something I really enjoyed as well about your books, especially like when Tobias is in the maze and in the very beginning with all the killing in the very beginning, like that really sets you up for like, this shit is real. Like this is happening now.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to write. I don't know what that says about me, but I enjoyed it.
How did you come up with the idea for the Savior's Champion?
So I don't know. It's probably going to sound silly. This might be also a neurodivergent thing, so maybe you guys can relate. I'm really into music, have been my whole life, and I play what I call mental music videos when I listen to songs I really love, and I kind of like create stories that go around the song. And there's a mental music video that I've had since college for the song Head Like a Hole by 9 Inch Nails, but specifically for the cover of it by AFI. And it was the story of these men going through an underground tunnel with like red signs that gave like very brief instructions, and they would just be kind of like navigating this tunnel and falling through the floor, and like, you know, vines and spiders and all this crazy stuff, fire, and all to get to the end, which was this beautiful angelic looking redhead woman. And once they get there, turns out she's evil. And that was this and that was this mental music video I had for literally since college. And then one day, this was while I think I was driving back from the hospital because Cliff was dealing with his spinal cord injury. I was listening to it and I was like, man, it would be really cool if I could bring this story to life. And then I sat there and was like, Jenna, you're a fucking writer. I'm like, it's like, why had this never occurred to me? You're a writer, write a book about it. So that's, it literally came from the Head Like a Hole song, and I just played it on repeat, and then I obviously made tweaks and changes. You know, there's still a redhead, but you know, and she's still not the greatest, you know.
There's a lot more substance there. Yeah, I love that. And I also love, because I feel like I'd asked you that question before and you told me it was from a song that you had this visualization for, and I feel like that happens with me as well with certain songs, but I've never like come up with a whole ass story.
Well, pretty much the story was mostly just the labyrinth. And so after that, I was like expanded. I wanted to turn it into a romance. In my head, the story was modern. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make it ancient, you know?
The other thing about the story, too, is the love story. Like, it's so different from other books that I've read. And the fact that, like, the way they develop their relationship is so different than, like, love at first sight. You know, and then they just fall for each other. It's like very complicated, and they have like this friendship, and then it's okay to do spoilers on this, right? Since we're talking, is it okay? Is that okay?
Are you asking me or Liz?
I'm asking Liz and you. Is it all right to have spoilers?
I don't care.
We always do spoilers, so for me it's fine.
Because it's hard not to talk about the cool things that happen.
Right, yeah, go for it.
Also, by the way, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm crocheting, and that way I can listen better. So...
I totally get that.
Yeah, okay. No, it's okay. I'm just being anxious, like I'm just drinking. But yeah, so like the fact that they get friendly with each other, but also just the fact that when they first meet, there's like tension between them. Because she thinks that he's like an asshole and that he just joined this for the same cause or the same reasons as the other guys, and he's, you know, clearly not. Tobias is completely different, and his reason behind it is has so much more value than some of the other guys, you know. And then when he loses his friend,
I know it's okay. I'm gonna say something that's gonna make people hate me, but it's okay. I couldn't stand Milo while I was writing him. Like, I wrote him with intention to be this kind of guy, and I didn't write him to be hate-worthy or like-worthy. I just wrote him to be like a real guy, like a real 21-year-old, real 21-year-old guy, and some people love him and some people hate him. I couldn't stand him, so when I finally did kill him, I was so like, thank God, I don't have to write him anymore.
I had a feeling that he was definitely going to die. Like, I didn't know when. I wasn't expecting it to happen the way that it did. Right. But like, I kind of knew it was going to happen, or that they were going to have to eventually kill each other. Like, that's what I thought. I was like, there's going to be something that happens. I'm kind of glad it didn't go that way, because that would have been really, really, really bad.
Well, they're getting into a thing where only one person survives. So it's basically like It's bound to happen, sort of.
Right. It's like we're gonna be enemies soon, but Milo's just like, I'm so excited to be here with
I'm so
my
happy that you're here.
like just like but you know, that's how some guys are, like not really using 2 brain cells.
The entire time Tobias is trying to be like, hey, like you shouldn't do this, dude. Like you're just not built for it. Like, come on, man. Like, not trying to be an asshole here, but like you should probably just like go home.
And Milo's like, I'm built different. It's like, yeah, it's small.
I want to do this. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was fun for me to write their dynamic because for me it just felt very realistic. But I was also happy to finally kill him off because I'm like, guys like this I can't stand in real life. But it was funny because most of my betas expected it to be like either Milo died at the breaking point toward the end of the book, and that was Tobias's breaking point, or they have to battle it out at the end, and like Milo becomes his enemy, and it's like, psych, no.
I loved it because I feel like that's exactly what I anticipated, and that's something that I really loved about the Savior's Champion as well, is that like you have all these like expectations based on books that you've read before, like tropes that you've come to know, and like you broke a bunch of them, like you in a good way. And I love that. Like his death was just so like, oh shit, that just happened.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm gonna keep saying that, like, oh yeah, I killed this person. That was fun. Yeah, there was a lot of, I guess it's a little weird and twisted, but there's a lot of symbology in the death. Like, for example, the 3 most misogynistic dudes, Bo, Neil, and Caesar, are all killed with the help of a woman, or at least at the hand of a woman. So like Neil's killed by Layla, Layla assists in killing Caesar, and Bo is killed by a statue savior come to life, you know? Just things like that.
I know you're having like an art contest, and because I already drew Tobias and Layla together, I really wanted to draw like one of the statues because they look so cool. And like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I need to draw that, or I need to paint that.
Yes, I support this.
Can you send me some reference so that way I can like do it justice, or like can you give me like
totally. Let me write that down.
Yeah, I would love to do that because they're so badass. Like in a garden, like with like stuff crawling up
with
them
vines?
and whatnot. Yeah, the vines and whatnot. Oh my God, that scene is so cool.
I already know exactly because I had references while I was writing the scene. I already know which ones. But it's like they're pretty, but you know, just imagine
evil.
Evil, yeah.
Did you make mood boards while you were writing?
Oh, absolutely. They're on Pinterest. I've got a giant The Savior series board. It's filled with stuff. Most of it is face claims, but there's a lot of outfits and, you know, just colorful things. And
I feel like when
locations.
when you're a visual person, or when like you said, like when you're listening to music, you have these visual things that happen, like these scenes and stuff. Like that's how I am as well. And like I know Liz is the same. Like it helps so much just to have like reference to what you're writing about.
Exactly,
because it helps your writing.
It helps to describe the things as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny though, because for me, I'm so particular. So like I'll have like 6 different face claims for Tobias, and it'll be like, okay, but this one's his nose, and this one is his eyes, and this one is his lips, and this is his skin color. It's like none of them are ever right. It's like, no, they're just combine them into a Frankenstein.
I have that too.
In our heads, like we know they're not real, but they are real to a point, right? They're real to the story. And so you're trying to find someone online that looks kind of similar, and it's so hard. But there have been occasions where I've like seen either on Pinterest or on TikTok where someone looks exactly like the character I'm trying to write for, and I'm just like, this is it. But then their personality is different, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. There are a few characters where like I normally don't base characters off of celebrities, but there are a couple of exceptions. Like, for example, the Proctor Romulus is F. Abraham Murray. He's an actor. And then...
Oh, shit! I know that guy. He's a really great actor.
And then Alfred Enoch. Right when I saw him, I was like, okay, that's Raphael. Like, that made it easy.
I love this guy. He's so cute.
I know. He's adorable with the dimples.
Yeah. Wait, I'm gonna look him up too. Raphael
is something? Alfred Enoch.
Oh, Alf.
Yeah, and then Enoch is Enoch. Yeah, he's super cute.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah. I always kind of see Nia as like a Willow Smith kind of a
I could get that vibe.
Yeah. I see that too.
But a little bit more timid, I think, than Willow. Willow's like just badass in general. Yeah.
Different personality, but same
vibe.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic. Yeah.
So I was wondering, since you're gray sexual, how is it writing sexual things?
This may sound terrible and make me look horrible, but I feel kind of like it gives me a sort of an advantage, because sometimes I read a lot of romance books and they dive into sex right away. And for me, it's just not believable, and it's hard to really get into because there's no substance outside of that. And I know that plenty of allosexual people, you know, they can develop sexual attraction right away. They could just look at someone and be like, wow, that person's hot, you know. I totally get that that's very, very common. But in a book, you kind of need more than just sexiness. You need some substance in order to get invested in the characters. The sexiness is going to be entertaining, but only to a certain point. The substance is what gets you invested in the characters. So I feel like being gray sexual helps in terms of writing romance and writing sexual situations, because it's easier. Like I'm not distracted by, I just want to show his abs, or I just want to show her tits, you know, like I don't have that rush or desire to do that. It's for me, I want to build that romantic connection between them. I put a lot of focus and intention on that. And then I feel like it makes the sexy situations a lot more gratifying. And also because being gray sexual, you know, you're not really distracted or clouded by sexual desires and stuff. It makes me pickier of sex scenes and like what language to use. And basically I'm a lot more meticulous and like, okay, we're not gonna call it, you know, a penis and a vagina, like in some sex scenes, and make it very clinical. Or I was just talking about this in a live stream recently, like a lot of books will describe a woman's, you know, genitals as wet folds, and it's like that. I know. That makes
it a man? Was it a man?
No, that's what makes it worse. Like, ladies, come on, you know? No. And like wet folds to me it reminds me of two things: either an old man in the rain or paper mache. And it's like neither of those things are sexy.
And like sloppy. Wet folds, like no, come on.
But that is like
ladies.
A very common phrase in sex scenes. And I feel like maybe it's gray sexuality, maybe it's just common sense, but I feel like I'm a lot more like, I'm a lot more like, no, we're not gonna use those words. We're gonna, like, I just feel like it kind of makes you a little bit more like, this is how to do it right, because you're not so just like, yeah, they're gonna do it, you know, you're not like clouded by that sort of thought process.
When you did write certain sexy scenes, specifically like the dream states that Layla and Tobias have, like they're both so well, like chef's kiss. Thank you. Well done. Like to the point where like I was like getting hot, but then I was like, okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, did you have to lay the book down for a second?
I had to for a second, just like close it, like, all right, they're characters.
It's funny because I think, I mean, like, I'm biased obviously, but I think I do sexy scenes right. Like, I think I do them well, but people will be like, but you're gray sexual, and it's like, it doesn't mean that I don't, you know.
That's the misconception that like Liz and I definitely have spoken about. Like, you can have attraction to people, but it's not the same as like the way that I might be attracted to somebody. Right. And you guys have sexual, I shouldn't even be talking about this. You guys should be.
Oh no, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. You're doing great. And when it comes to talking about like sexuality with myself, I always get very like flustered. Like, I have no problem making a dick joke, but I'm not going to be like, so here's all about my sex life. But like with characters, maybe because I'm gray sexual, or maybe because I've been studying, you know, writing and romance for a long time, it makes it easier for me to build the connection between the characters. It makes it easier for me to focus on the substance of their relationship, which in turn I feel makes the sex scenes a lot more gratifying. And like you're rooting for it, and you're like, come on, get it in. Whereas with other books, you don't care. You're like,
no, because it's just a sex scene. Like I definitely feel like establishing the first kiss is like so important, because you want it to be like a slow burn, but you don't want it to be too much. Like, you want to make sure that you give it to the reader at the give it to the reader at at the right time.
Give it to me, baby.
Right. Yeah, I feel like it's been an asset in some ways. Obviously, the asexuality spectrum asset. The asexuality spectrum is very diverse, and some asexuals are sex repulsed, and some, have a sex drive. They just aren't attracted to anyone at all. It's very diverse, and if you are on the side of the spectrum where you're very sex repulsed, you don't have to write sex scenes. It's totally fine. And certainly, not every book requires a sex scene, and not every romance requires a sex scene. There's plenty of sexless romances out there. But for me, I feel like it's, based on where I'm at on the spectrum, and also based on my pickiness for romance, it's helped make me hone my romance writing craft even better.
You establish this like amazing connection that's intimacy without like it's not a sexual physical intimacy, it's like a mental intimacy between Tobias and Layla, and it's so good. And like we need more of that. That's all I'm trying to say. Like we just need more of those kinds of relationships in books and in shows that are not just like, oh, that guy's really hot. And also like Liz and I have talked about how protectiveness or like the jealousy.
No.
Yeah. The immediate
no. The thing where the dude is like, that other dudes can't talk about her, otherwise he will get so angry. And it was this one book where you were in the point of view of the girl, and she was just going on about his abs. I was like, okay, I get it. He has abs.
We get it.
Yeah. It's like when people write about like breasts, it's like, okay, breasts are great.
Move on.
It's cool that you notice them. Continue on.
And the protection thing, like I love a protective partner. I think it's very sweet, but there's a huge difference between being protective and being possessive, controlling. Yes. And a lot of these writers, they are writing possessiveness and calling it protection. It's like, no, a protective partner is the opposite of possessive. They will allow you independence and freedom because they know that that's going to be important to any human being.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they trust you. It comes down to trust, and I feel like there's this like, I don't want to call it a fetish, but it is kind of a fetish of like these writers that write these like very like hyper masculine men that like they just want to like, you're mine and I don't want you to be talking to any other guys, or like, what is he doing over there?
Yeah.
It just feels so uncomfortable.
Toxic.
I know. I don't get it. Like sometimes I try and analyze like, why are people like this? And all I can think is like, because I've known people in the past who are into that, and all of them had like very like domineering fathers. And so I'm like, is this some kind of projection of your dad? Like that's all I can assume, because I find it very uncomfortable. I don't like stories like that. I can't get behind male love interests like that. Another one is a male love interest who doesn't give a shit about what happens to any other woman. But if you're bad to his woman and they're like, wow, what a feminist. It's like, he's not a feminist because he doesn't give a shit if other women get assaulted or raped, but he only cares about this one. Suddenly he cares.
It's his possession.
Exactly.
It belongs to him. It's so gross. I don't know. Do better, guys. Do better.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I wanted to say something while we were on the Ace talk, like writing sexy scenes, because with the book that I'm writing, I just can't write sexy things because I was like, okay, do I include it here or not? And it would just make me uncomfortable just thinking about it. So it's like, okay, no, let's not do it.
I totally get that. And I've got lots of friends who are like that and on the Ace spectrum, and they're like, yeah, it just feels, it doesn't feel natural. It feels shoehorned in. And if that's the case, then don't write it because it won't read as natural, you know?
Yeah, that's something that I've struggled with. I had a scene that was sort of smutty in my book that I had to take out because my critique partner was like, "This is smut," and I was like, "You know what? It is. It is. I'll just take
it out." There's nothing wrong with well-placed smut, but you know.
Yeah, I think it was just an awkward, like, it made sense in my brain, but like, you know, that's why we have critique partners and people that like beta readers, etc., because we need the feedback. Just because it seems like a good idea at the time doesn't mean that it's actually
exactly. And for me, I think one of the things that also helps me with writing sex scenes is like, I feel like a lot of people take sex so seriously, and it's in the writing, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so intense, and he's just like holding her so tight and throwing her up against the wall and all this stuff. And it's just like, I mean, I'm like, sex is like funny, kind of, if you think about it. It's like your private parts being smashed together, and like, you know, so you're in weird positions, and you know, like sometimes you get a foot cramp, and I'm not saying write your sex scenes that way. Like, I'm not saying write it that way. I'm just saying that, like, maybe stop taking it so fucking seriously while you're writing it, because it's really not that serious. And I feel like obviously you can make your sex scenes very sexy, but when people like just totally load on the intensity and the seriousness of the situation, I'm like, this is not like this. Come on, this is load on. It's just unavoidable, the sex puns, but like
I have another one. It's not that deep.
I was gonna say, like, one of my favorite scenes too in The Savior's Champion is when Tobias kind of walks in on
Enzo and Xander.
Yeah, when he walks in on them and he's like, "Whoops, this is the thing.
Nothing to see here, walking away." And then Enzo's chasing after him with his pants down. So I had a reader who read that scene, and you know, I asked, "What did you think of the tent scene?" And she goes, "I don't really get why Enzo was so angry with Tobias. And like, it wasn't that big of a deal." And I was like, well, he was engaged in relations with another guy, so not only is he technically cheating on the Savior, but he's also cheating with a guy, which begs the question, is he even interested in, you know, women at all? And she said, and I quote, I will never forget this, she goes, "Wait, he's gay?" And then she goes, "Wow, I didn't take that as a gay thing at all. I thought he was just bored and blowing off steam."
It's just bros being bros.
I just sat in silence staring, because it's all online, staring at the screen for so long, because I was like,
there's definitely being blasé about sexual experience. But to literally just be like, he's just blowing off steam, like, oh, where's the line?
I mean, like,
where's the line for you?
I could totally understand being like, oh, I thought he was bi, which is very valid. But like, I just thought he was a straight guy who was bored. Like, yeah, he's been underground for 5 days and he just needs to get sucked off that badly. And I showed Cliff and he goes, "Oh yeah, you know, that's just dudes being dude. Every time I'm bored, I call up one of my guys and I'm like, hey bro, want to get together, play some Xbox, have some beers, maybe suck on each other's dicks." Like, it was just like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening.
That's funny. Thank you for sharing that.
It's hilarious.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. You're working on so many different things. Can you tell listeners what you're currently working on that like you're really excited about?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, there's obviously the Savior's Army that is in progress. I had to take a big break from it because 8-month long break, because Cliff was doing really poorly in terms of his health and he was hospitalized, and then we bought a new house and had to move, but now that we're moved in and Cliff is doing significantly better, I'm back to work on the TSA, so that's super exciting. I also am working on another secret-ish project. It's secret-ish because I've only just started revealing details about it. I am working on a nonfiction book. I haven't publicly announced what it's about, but it is for writers. So all the writers out there who need help writing books, I got you covered. And if you go through my videos from the past couple of months, I snuck the cover into one of those videos to see if anyone would notice.
Anybody would.
Did they?
I'm gonna go back because I think we've talked about it before. I'm gonna see if I notice it.
I think I've shown you the cover before, so it'll be easier for you to spot. But I snuck it into a video just with it. Didn't say anything. Didn't say, "Here's my book cover." I just snuck it in there and put it on the screen just to see if anyone would notice. So if anyone is curious what the book is about, just go through some of my videos.
Did anyone notice?
Yeah,
I don't know, because I don't usually. There are so many YouTube comments that I check like the first 10 and then that's it. And the first 10 are always like, "I'm here first," and "Hey, I have a writing question," first. You know? Right. So I didn't see if anyone noticed, but if they did, I haven't been informed.
Okay.
That's another thing that I wanted to mention is just like you as a person, not just as a writer, but you as a person, you're so good to your readers and people that support you. Like I remember the first time I messaged you, I didn't anticipate that you were going to message me back, but you totally did. And like, you're super nice and like, you're so helpful. And yeah, I think you really care about, you know, your readers and your supporters.
Well, the way I feel about it is, first of all, I spent most of my life having no one support, you know, my writing at all. Everyone was like, I literally one time in the 7th grade, and I made a video about this, one of my very first videos. In the 7th grade, my math teacher had everyone go around and say what job they wanted when they grew up. And she would say why math was important to that job. And when she got to me, I said, I want to be a writer. And she literally said in front of the whole class, oh, well, you're going to be a homeless failure then. Like in front, and I was already being bullied and like I was a huge nerd.
Oh no.
And she said that in front of the whole class. She's like, oh, well, that's not a career. You're going to be a homeless failure. And I said, well, I mean like a journalist. And she goes, oh, well, in that case, you know, and then blah, blah, blah. Okay. So like I literally, yeah, like what a bitch. And people are like, I hope she sees you now. And I'm like, dude, she's probably dead. I mean, like she was I'm serious. She was an old lady then. She's probably dead now. So
I know. I was about to ask, like, do you know her last name?
Oh yeah, I do.
Do you have a piece of her hair?
I do know her last name, but I won't slam her here. I'll tell you
I think you were going somewhere else.
Yeah. No, but slam her. No, but yeah, she was an old lady then. She's probably dead. But anywho, just keeping it real. But like, yeah, my whole life, no one supported my writings. And I thought they were realistic expectations, but a lot of people said I was very cynical. Like I said, when I started my YouTube channel, I'm like, just 100 subscribers. That's all I want. And when I released my first book, I said, I just want it to be a fun side gig, like a little side income, you know, just if I can make any money off my book, if I could just break even, you know, because you have to put money into self-publishing a book. I know. And now, yeah. And now I'm making, last I did the math, I'm making over triple what I made as a stockbroker. So I'm making a lot more than I made doing the realistic normal job that everyone said I had to have. And I would not
Jokes
be in
on
this.
them.
Right,
You're doing
exactly.
so much better now.
Fuck you. This was the right path after all. But I wouldn't be in that position if it wasn't for my subscribers and readers. Like people, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people get into this position where they're doing well and successful at whatever their dream is. And then they forget that they would not be here if it wasn't for the people who are buying their product and reading it and sharing it. So for me, this is my lifelong dream. I've wanted to do this my whole life. And so when people hit me up and are kind to me and supportive of me, like I'm very grateful because I never thought, I spent my whole life thinking that I'm never going to be able to do this, you know? So I'm just very, it's very like, it's a huge honor and it's very humbling and I'm very appreciative. Obviously if people hit me up and just say, hey, read my book for free, I'm not going to respond. You know, there's a limit, but when people are sweet and kind and supportive, to me, it's like, wow, because I didn't have that for a big chunk of my life.
You've also talked about in the past, I don't know if it's okay for me to bring this up, but like people using you and your platform. And I think that's something that someone in your position, you don't realize that you're going to have to like look out for that until it happens.
Also, I feel like I have a very, I guess, so I've been told, I don't have the most, I don't know if the word's realistic, but I have a different view of where I'm at in my life than other people do. Like Cliff would be like, wow, Jenna, like you're book famous now. And I'd be like, haha, cute. But I didn't realize that some people do see me that way. I don't, because I still fucking, shop at Safeway like everyone else, like I don't see myself that way. And I'd be at the dollar store getting messages like, I can't believe that a famous author liked my comment. And I'm like, bitch, I'm at the dollar store. Like, come on. Like, I'm not that serious here,
I totally understand that. I feel like you, myself, Liz, there are a lot of people that don't recognize or realize their potential or where they're at. And like, you've made it.
Thank you.
I mean, you're still striving for, because that's how people are. And we're always striving for more and we always want to do better than we did last time. But like, if I were to pull an oracle card, I feel like you'd probably get accomplishments. And like with that one, it's like there's this girl and she's looking off to the side and there's pillars behind her, really big pillars. And each pillar is an accomplishment, but she's not even paying attention to it. She's like off looking at like the next thing. And that's you. Yeah. I feel like that's you right now. I know that you recognize that you're doing really well, but I hope one day you can see like how well you're actually doing. Like you're an amazing writer. You're such a good person.
That's kind of the situation I'm getting into right now. But the problem is when it first started happening, it made me not realize I was susceptible to what I call climbers, because I didn't see myself as being like a big deal. So when people would, befriend me with maybe not the best intentions, it didn't dawn on me that they were trying to like use me as clout or something like that. Because to me, I'm like, well, I'm just Jenna, I'm just this neurodivergent chick who likes to write about blood and kissing, I had several situations where someone befriended me and then they were like, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Can you share it? Can you share it? Can you do this? Can you do that? And the minute I stop, and I start to feel like this is getting a little like one-sided and uncomfortable. And I won't go into the details, but other things happening that are kind of gaslighty and kind of like, this is not how a healthy friendship should be. The minute that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, put up some boundaries, they're gone. Either they're gone or they're spreading shit about me or they're attacking me or like, ghosting and stuff. So that was something that happened once my channel was starting to gain traction. Now at this point, I know the signs and I'm a lot more like guarded around people, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I like to help people. That's kind of like my love language. I exhibit is acts of service. I like to, help people read their writing and try and help them improve because I want to see other people succeed and be happy, and I didn't have that help. So I want to be that person for someone else. And I just have gone to a place where I have to be kind of guarded and careful about how I extend myself for other people, because now that my platform is the size that it is,
I imagine it's like super draining too. I always say this to you, like, hey, I know I'm probably really busy, like, because I know it's not me just being like kind or anything. It's like I am aware of like how much you probably have to do in a day.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate when people acknowledge that. It's like, you got a life, But I don't mind helping people out, especially if it's something that's like a big deal to them, but it's really, really easy for me. It's just when it, there's been several situations where it's like very clear that it's like, okay, this is your job in my life, is to just boost me, and it's like, that's not what I'm here for. Bye, bitch.
You need to focus on yourself first and foremost, and like you and yours, Also, I feel so bad we didn't get into this. Can we talk about Butters?
Yes, absolutely. Princess Buttercup.
Yes.
So
your princess. My favorite dog ever.
Thank you. We got her from the Humane Society. She's a rescue mutt. And basically Cliff was recovering from CRPS, and he spent many years being bedridden. He's much more active now. He's not back to quote unquote normal, but he's much more active now. But at the time, he spent a lot of time bedridden. And, I'm there every day. I work from home, so I'm always there, but it's still lonely, especially since he's an extrovert and he thrives on
people and interaction and closeness.
And so it got to a point where I'm like, and I love dogs, I grew up with dogs. I got to a point where like, we got to get him a dog. We got to get him a dog, And so I started looking, and we knew it had to be a small dog because he, wouldn't have the strength necessary for walking a big dog. So we knew it had to be a small dog. Right. Also, we wanted something that would cuddle, on the bed. And his whole thing was something that was part Chihuahua, and I wanted something with big ears. those were our, but ultimately
you guys got it.
Right. Ultimately, all that mattered was she or he was a good fit for our family. And so I would stalk the Humane Society website and all these other shelter websites every day, and I would refresh. And we saw her picture. I'll send it to you on Instagram.
We're going to put that in the Instagram too.
I know. I'll send it to you right now. I saw her picture and I just literally like showed it to Cliff, and I'm like, we're going now. It was the first day it showed up on their website, and I was like, we are going to see this dog. And her name was Coco. I'm like, we are going to see this dog. And so
is it on Discord?
Oh no, I sent it through Instagram.
The shit's all being sent live here.
Can we just look at how cute this is? It's so cute.
With her ears,
Oh, that's really cute.
So I told him, I was like, we are going to see this dog. Are you like physically able to? And he's like, yeah, I'm having an okay day.
You don't?
So we went, and we were the first. Apparently there was a bunch of people who came after us to see Coco as well, but we were the first. And so we got to see her first, and we sat and she was all by herself in this big crate, and she was so small. She was 2 pounds. And I'll send you video of Cliff.
You're gonna make me cry though. Like, I'm so emotional already.
But she just gravitated to Cliff so quickly, and we spent like 15 minutes with her, and then we flagged the person down. They're like, okay, can we get her?
Nice.
Okay, so I'm sending you some. So I'll send you some pictures.
I can't wait. I love Butters.
You just got a flood. So we adopted her right away. And now, when we recently got our DNA tested, she's 3.5 years old now. So we've had her for 3.5 years. She was like a month old when we got her. And she's the best. She's amazing. I think since we got her so young, she was perfectly acclimated to Cliff's disability. Like, we were afraid that she would get under his cane or his foot and trip him. She's very good about like walking alongside him, but not too close. She will wait for him on the stairs. So he'll be going a little bit and then she'll sit and wait. And she's just a total love bug.
What do they call that when dog? Because my dog is kind of like that too, like an emotional.
Right. We had her certified as an emotional support animal, but recently, literally just last week, she got certified as a PTSD service dog as well. So her employment has upgraded because basically both Cliff and I have PTSD. I think it's probably...
She's been promoted.
Yeah, she's been promoted. She got a job promotion. She's got the vest now. When Cliff has like PTSD attack, PTSD dogs will sort of disrupt the trigger. And sometimes some dogs, they'll just sit on you. Sometimes they'll lick you. Sometimes, something.
My dog does the same thing. Yeah. If I have a panic attack or if he can tell that I'm sad, he comes and he puts his head on my chest to like calm me down.
That you could get him registered as a PTSD service dog, because that's Butters. What she does is she's small, she's now a whole 7 pounds. So much bigger than 2 pounds.
5 pounds more than 2.
And she crawls onto Cliff's chest and then just licks his face until he starts laughing, and then the trigger is died down. So yeah, now she's his PTSD service dog.
Oh dang, that's so light. Sorry, I had to look up what it is in kilos, but that's so light.
She's so tiny.
She's very small.
Yeah.
She's like that big.
Oh damn.
My other favorite thing is like in your Discord, when someone pops in or if I'm like typing, it's like a little Butters thing comes up, like a little Butters like GIF or like a sticker. It's so cute.
Yeah, we have Butters stickers for Cyborg Central in my Patreon writing group. So if you want to react to something with Butters, you can. And we've got Butters merch, and people want Butters children's books. And
oh my god, talk to me about that because I'm on it.
Okay, cool.
If you ever want to work with me on doing a children's book, I will do it.
Because that's something I have a long list of future Jenna goals, and one of them is the Butters children's books, because people have asked for it. And it's funny because like a lot of people, they'll use their pets for like making money and stuff, and sometimes it's cool and sometimes it seems a little exploitative. But with Butters, it's sweet because she she comes when I'm filming, she comes in and will just sit by my chair like, I want to be involved. And she's just she's such a sweetie. She's the most affectionate dog I've ever had. Like, she just likes to kiss people and snuggle, and she just always wants to be around people. So she's just a very good girl and a very smart girl.
I love her.
Me too.
I'm so happy that you and Cliff have her, and like you guys are the cutest little family.
Thank you. We're considering getting her a friend, but it's like far on the horizon. It's just something we've thought about because she likes to play a lot, and it's like, well, maybe if she had a friend, she'd get more playtime, so.
Yeah, I understand how that is.
Right.
We hit the hour mark, and I don't want to, I know editing is going to make it shorter, but can I ask you a couple more questions before we... Okay, so I wanted to ask what you've learned through your writing journey. What's something that you learned about yourself or about just the writing journey in general?
I learned, I'm trying to think of a way to, there's no way to word this without just being an asshole.
Go ahead.
I've learned fuck everyone else, like fuck everyone else. Because that's the big thing is, like growing up, everyone told me I couldn't do it. And look
where you are right now. Yeah.
I'm a 6-figure author. Yeah. Like it's just fuck everyone else. And I don't mean that in a way that like, if you're getting feedback from readers that something is shitty in your work and you got to fix it, like that's not what I mean. Reader feedback and that kind of stuff is very, very important. What I mean is that if you've got a gut instinct about something, trust your gut. And if other people are going against it, that's their problem. That's not your problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and that translates into more than just, it turns out I could be a writer and I could make this a career. It translates to more than just that. When I first started, there were a lot of things I wanted to write about that I was passionate about that I felt like, oh, people are going to judge me, like a lot, like, for example, I really love writing romance, and a lot of people, like to clown on romance and act like it's not real writing.
Yeah, you can like just, walk over and like wave your money at them the next time they say something like, whatever, bitch.
Right. And it's funny because I was like, well, I don't want people to make fun of me. But then the stuff that I get the most compliments on in my writing is my romance, and everyone loves the romance. And then I researched the industry and learned that romance is the highest grossing genre in all of fiction. And I'm like, what? Why am I being afraid of being judged when I can just
men
be over
suck,
here?
Though, that's why.
Right. You've cracked the code. But yeah, so just things like that. Like, if you're passionate about something and you've got a gut instinct,
just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. So for me, a big thing has been like coming into my own and trusting myself, you know, and going with my gut, going with my instinct, and not dismissing feedback entirely, but knowing how to couple that with your own instinct.
Yeah, and everyone has their own feeling to it and what they like and stuff. So you like, other people might not like. So yeah, I get that it's very important to write something that you're excited about and that you want to read, I guess. Because if it makes you happy, and then the right people will come along and like it too.
Exactly. Completely true. And also your passion kind of oozes from the page. If someone was having fun writing it, sometimes you can just tell. And even if the book has its faults, at least from my reading experience, there was a book I read recently, I'm not going to name titles, but it wasn't a perfect book. But I had so much fun reading it. And a lot of it, you could just tell that the writer was writing exactly what they wanted to write. And some of it was cheesy, you know, and some of it was kind of like, okay, that suspends disbelief. But it was so fun to read. And you just got the sense that this was a passion project, you know? And it really translates through the writing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like when you were saying about like, you know, trusting your gut and whatnot, like I can only associate that with like an issue I'm having right now. Like I'm really trying to pinpoint, like, this is my title for my book.
Oh man, that's so difficult.
And like everybody has an opinion and everybody thinks that it should be this way, and like multiple people are like, well, you got to look at what the trends are, and I'm like, I'm totally okay with that, but every book looks the same and all of the names are the same.
Everything is a blank of blank and blank right now.
Yeah. Or the in the
I hate it.
But there's like 40 different other books called A Web of Fate. And I wanted to just call it by my character's name. And someone was like, oh, well, no one's going to care about your character, so why would you name it that?
I love it still. I really love that.
It just feels fine to just name it the way that it feels right for me. Like, maybe people won't care about it, but after they read it, if they enjoy it, they'll understand why it's named that.
Well, also that might make it easier to search. Searchability for a book title is very important.
Yeah.
So if it is the same name as other books, that means that when you search your book, you're going to get those other books as a result.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a name that's more unique, that means anytime people search for it, they're just going to get your book.
Yeah.
So that, yes, trends matter and all that stuff, but also I don't remember if your book is young adult, new adult, or adult.
It's new adult.
Okay, because a blank of blank and blank is a young adult trend.
I can't stand it.
I still don't know the difference.
Even if you went with that trend, it would be catering to the wrong audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be catering to an adjacent audience, but it would be giving the wrong message, you know? So there are so many factors that go into titling a book. And you want to pay attention to the trend, but in this case, it almost sounds like, okay, well, that's like, for example, if I went a blank and blank and blank, it would be a bad marketing tactic because I write adult fiction.
Yeah.
People will be picking it up like, oh, this is young adult. Oh shit, there's a penis, you know? Like, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, nowadays it's like if there are penises in young adult, people are like, oh, that's spicy, that's good, you know? But like honestly, it's like there are genres for a reason.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I can't, and I'm not against having sex in young adult, but you got to keep in mind that young adult is for ages 12 to 18. So you got to keep in mind that there are going to be literal middle schoolers reading the book. So you can include a sex scene, but don't make it like then he slammed into her with his cock, you know, like
you found it her flappy what was it again?
That was perfect. Gross.
Yeah, no wet folds in young adult or adult fiction, please. No wet folds, period.
Just never do that.
All right, my last question for you, Jenna, is if you were a meme, what meme would you be?
Because I already know this is a meme that I have saved just because it's kind of like I don't know, it feels like a representation of my soul. And it's
Nice.
it's SpongeBob, and the title is When Someone Acts Real Bold Towards Me But Has No Idea What I'm Capable Of. And it's SpongeBob smiling, holding a little placard that says, "Try me, ho." And I feel like that's my life, because I, especially being a woman in writing, a male-dominated industry like all the rest, and then a woman on YouTube, like, I guess, you're gonna get exponential amount of hate and crap, and it's just kind of like, you can fuck with me if you want to. Fuck with me at your own risk.
I feel like you're the kind of person that would smile and tell someone to fuck off, and like it would just be, you'd look so pleasant while doing it.
I don't, that's the thing, is it's like, I was bullied growing up. I'm on the spectrum. I was a nerd. I graduated high school with a 4.35 GPA. Like, I was that
good or bad?
nerd.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Oh, that's really good.
That's really good.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, like, I'm like a hardcore nerd. I was bullied for my appearance growing up. I was bullied for my personality. I was bullied for my intelligence. I've heard everything you can say about me. So being in this position and being a very public figure, and people trying to like throw shade and stuff, it's like, you can say whatever you want. I've heard it all. I don't give a fuck. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Do what you want. Like, I've got all the comebacks.
There's this lyrics in a song where they say, "You can throw me shade, it'll just cool me off," or something like that.
I love that. That's wonderful. Well, also, and like, on a serious note, usually people who go out of their way to do that kind of shit, that's a personal reflection.
Yeah.
They've got some personal issues they're going through, and you are a mirror showing their insecurities back at them.
Yeah.
That's usually how I see it. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, when people are like that with no prompting, and I don't mean people who are like, "Oh, I didn't like her book," or, "Oh, I'm not crazy about her channel." I mean people who are like, "Fuck you, bitch,"
Yeah, like, for no apparent reason. Like,
right. I just feel like, well, that's a you problem, and I feel kind of bad for you. Like,
yeah.
Not totally bad because you're an asshole, but I feel kind of bad for you, and, work on yourself.
You look at your life, and you look at how good things are, and you look at the comment, and you're like, why?
I'm gonna go back to my dream house,
exactly,
writing my books that are award winning, and you can go back to your mom's basement. It's all good. Have a good life.
Try me, ho.
Right, exactly. Try me, ho. I'm gonna wipe my tears with my dollar
with
bills.
Your dollar bills. Like, so sorry that you feel that way.
That's how I feel.
Well, good. That's how. I mean, if I was in your position, I'd feel the same way. Thank you so much, Jenna, for like chatting with us today, and for being like just
It was so much fun.
Oh, I'm so glad that you. Yeah. So thank you for joining us, and
thank you.
I can't wait for the Savior's Army. I'm like so excited, and also your nonfiction book.
I think that one will come out first, but the Savior's Army has been, because I took that 8-month-long break, and then I had to get back into it, and I used to be able to whip out like 10 pages in a day, but because I took that break, it's like, I know, because I took that break, it's like 2 pages, and I'm like, like, come on,
it's like trying to get that motivation. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I'm still working on my first book, and like whenever I take even just like a 3-day break, I'm like, where am I at? What am I doing?
And then you end up describing the same thing.
You have to reread the chapter.
So will you let readers will you let listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. You can find me obviously on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Jenna Moreci. That's Moreci. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. Twitter and Instagram's all at Jenna Moreci. Facebook is author Jenna Moreci. And of course, be sure to check out The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister. They're available wide, which means you can get them at all major retailers. You can get them on Amazon, Book Depository, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, whatever. Yeah. And you can get them in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook.
Yes.
So,
yeah, audiobook, definitely. I need to actually listen to it, because on YouTube, at the end of your videos, you have the person that did your audio like say a little thing, and they sound so cute. I'm like, I need to listen to the audio.
They're so good. My favorite favorite, I have several favorites. Emma Tigan narrated The Savior's Sister, and Nick narrated The Savior's Champion, and I love Nick's Wimbledon voice. This is Wimbledon. It's just like, subscribe, the people will love you for it. It's just so funny. But I love all their voices, but that's my favorite little ending
Oh
clip.
my god, I can't wait. I have to like go back and see if I can find that. But yeah, thank you so much, Jenna. And thank you for everybody that listened in. Liz, do you want to tell them where they can find us?
We are on Instagram, which is the Book Fairy Spot. And on Twitter, we are Book Fairy Spot. And you can email us at thebookfairyspot@gmail.com. And we also, now we got a website.
Hey!
It's thebookfairyspot.blogspot.com. We'll make sure to have an URL sometime, but this is what it is right now. And yeah, thank you so much, Jenna, for being here. It was a blast listening to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye,
okay,
guys.
bye.